Hi guys, it is Dan, aka Prof Chipboard here, and today I'm going to be bringing you my UBC draft recap slash draft analysis. League I've just joined, Gen VII League. Nice to see that I'm still alive for anyone who actually cares and still watching. So may as well hop into it. I had the second pick overall, and I was tempted to go for Tapu Koko first. Just try out the new stuff, but it's a little bit frail and it doesn't hit quite as hard as you'd like. So I thought, instead I'm going to try something which looks absolutely broken, and I went for Necrozma. Base 97 HP, 107 attack, 101 defense, 127 special attack, 89 def, and 29 speed. Pure psychic typing, great ability in Prism Armor, gets access to Stealth Rocks, two forms of reliable recovery, both affected by weather, however. Prism Armor, if you don't know, works basically like Filter, and basically it can be bulky, it can set up, it gets stored power. It's got base 127 attack. I mean, it can go physical as well. With it gets access to SD like X's Earthquake. Only slightly annoying thing is on the special side, it doesn't get anything to touch dark types. So you're relying really on going mixed to take that on. Does get Dark Pulse to deal with opposing bulky psychic. So yeah, it's a decent one. Potentially very, very good in draft format, like Crass, but inferior. Less bulky, but more offensive Crass, and I think it could be quite good. Gives me a very reliable rock setter to start, and I'm very happy with it. So obviously next I need something which will take on the dark types that are gonna stop me from sweeping and potentially the other bulky psychic. So I go for Scolipede. Now, Baton Pass, unfortunately for me, is banned or multiple stat passes are banned in this league. But with Z moves, we're allowed 3 Z move users only offensive. Scolipede becomes that much more of a threat because it means it has a chance at breaking down some of the things that otherwise would have just completely stopped it dead. Because you get Edgequake in terms of cover. You get coverage wise, you get Edgequake. You also get Stab, Mega Horn, and Poison Jab, and the Bugsy move coming off Mega Horn is no joke. It's 190 base power, and yeah, that's really, really gonna hurt. Also, it gives me access to the other 2 forms of hazards, and I get a very level Spiker / T-Spiker, and it's just an all-round good mon. Gives me a Pursuit Trapper as well, in case everyone wanted to do that. I believe. Just let me double check that. Yes, it does get Pursuit. So yeah, it's just a very, very good, powerful mon. Can be a very good late game cleaner. Can be sort of a lead. It's versatile. It's in tier 2, and so that gives me that. Now, next, because it's Gen 7, and we want to try out new stuff, and also I really, really want to go with this. I want a really reliable spinner, because there's no point me hazard stacking only to get stacked and returned and then have to remove all my own hazards by clicking T-Fog. So I've got Delmise, probably the best of the new spinners in my opinion. Ghost Grass type, 131 base attack stat, that's no laughing matter. 3 stabs due to Steelworker. So it's an offensive presence. It'll beat a lot of spin blockers because it's a spin blocker in itself as well. It can beat a lot of spin blockers. It's a decent AV user, base 70 HP, which isn't phenomenal, but because it's so slow, you're basically always going to have max investment in HP, so that takes up to 344, which is manageable, and then on top of that, its defense is 190, which are pretty good, so it means it's a decent AV user, and it's going to be fairly hard to switch into, but I should give it ample chances to sort of get off a rapid spin. It's not massively reliable, obviously, doesn't get particularly good forms of recovery outside of Leech Seed, unless I want to go Subseed. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's going to be hard to switch into, and it's a pretty reliable rapid spinner. On top of that, it's probably one of my favourite new ones in terms of its design. So that's fair. Now here, next up, I wanted to go with Crook, and unfortunately, Crook got sniped from me, and I then went for probably the next best dark type in the draft to complete sort of a quite nasty offensive core, and I picked up Zoroark. Can go special, can go physical, can go mixed. 105 speed, which is a nice tier. Gets access to stab, sucker punch. If it has been nerfed by 10 this gen, it's still going to hurt us. It's a base 70 priority coming at 105 attack. Another mon which has pretty phenomenal coverage overall. I mean, you get sort of on top of the dark stab, which is almost unresisted. You do get sludge bomb to nail those fairies. You also get flamethrower to hit steel types, and you also get extra sensory if you're to hit fighting types. So it can hit pretty hard. Set up on both sides, and gets memento, trick, sort of utility moves like that. U-turn as well. Illusion's nice to have as well because you can mess with your opponent with that. So it's a good mon. It does what it does, and yeah. Following this, this is my fourth pick, and here I then plumped for Tapu Fini. At this stage, I didn't have a defogger. There weren't many good water/fairy types left on the board, in my opinion. So I decided to plump out and go for this. Again, it's my third new mon. We'll see how it goes in the format. It is bulky, and gets access to gets his Misty Surge ability, which is nice because it means even though I don't have a cleric, it basically acts as one. 115 defense, 130 spadef, which is sort of really good bulk, even though they're slightly lackluster 70 HP. Good speed for a wall, 85, means you can creep a few things, and then 95 attack, which is alright, because it gets access to sort of, you can run it offensive, you can run it Carmine, because it does get sort of very, very powerful stabs in Hydro Pump and Moonblast. On top of it, it does get Haze as well, so it can stop setup, and yeah, and Nature's Madness as well, which is nice. Biggest problem with it, though, is absolutely the fact that its recovery is not reliable. Its best recovery is Protect plus Leftovers, maybe Aqua Ring, but still, you're really, really struggling to get health back, and it's not going to switch in more than once or twice to a few things. That's kind of something which is a bit annoying because it kind of forces my hand with building wise, which means that Necrozma has to be defensive or Spadef because that's got reliable recovery. So it is what it is. I'm not 100% sold on it, but it should sort of do everything that it needs to. But I will see. Now, didn't originally plan on drafting my next pick, but it was a steel type. It fit. It's a fighting type to finish off my offensive cores, and it's phenomenal. It's Lucario. No. I'll explain something from here. I did want to draft P2. P2 and sort of as a sponge, as something reliable, sort of to switch into basically anything I needed it to. That got sniped. Unfortunately, it was a bit late to sort of. Yeah, it was quite important. I probably should have grabbed it ahead of Tapu Fini. But it is what it is. So here I basically decided to take a more offensive draft approach. Not something I initially wanted to do, but having sort of a more offensive draft, I feel is probably going to be slightly better to begin with in this meta style, particularly because of like all the Z moves and allowing you to sort of break things that much easier. It's that sort of thing which should help, and having sort of various breakers and a lot of offense hopefully should mean that I can overpower any other offensive team. We'll see about that though. But yeah, so Lucario, as I said, it's phenomenal. Watch Shardy, he'll explain why. 110, 115 attacks and special attack. Fighting Steel is phenomenal because the best fighting switch-ins are... Fighting Steel with dark coverage is absolutely phenomenal because the best things to switch into your fighting attacks are Ghost, Psychic and Fairy, and if you've got dark coverage plus Steel, then you're smacking all of those. Can set up on either side, gets an incredible amount of priority, which is so important this gen. Just because of a number of powerful sort of Ultra Beast Scarfers. So it gets E-Speed, gets Bullet Punch, and yeah, it's just a phenomenal mon. Like I sort of looked at sort of just how sort of hard it hits, and it's remarkable particularly because getting the special Aura Sphere makes sort of and not having to rely on Focus Miss just makes for a nasty plot set so much more reliable than sort of else. But yeah, it's good. It just gets a stupid move pool. Gets high jump kick. Like you never see it, but it does get high jump kick. So yeah, I'm gonna move on from this. And next up, after I drafted Lucario, was Kyurem. Now here, I was literally thinking, what's in tier 3? What's going to be my fourth tier 3? What's got a decent, what can be sort of fairly bulky, and also what sort of still is nice and offensive. And Dragonite is phenomenal offensive typing. Base 130 attack, base 130 special attack are great. Base 125 HP on 90 defenses. You know what? It means you can take a hit. You can take a super effective hit. You're going to be struggling with sort of stuff like Mega Gardevoir Hyper Voice, but you can probably survive it. So yeah, it is what it is. It's a powerful wall breaker. Good mixed wall. Yeah. It's a powerful mixed wall breaker. Really good Scarf user. Gets access to sort of Earth Power and Flash Cannon and Iron Head, and so it gets decent amounts of coverage outside of its 2 stabs. Also gets reliable recovery. So far I've only got this and Necrozma for reliable recovery, which is not ideal to be honest, but it is what it is. So yeah, Kyurem. It's good. Scary dragon thing. I didn't want to have to switch into it, so it's nicer to have it than not. Then we go Omastar. Now I realise that I picked up Omastar ahead of the 2 tier 5s I needed, and also my Mega. However, I had a look at it and I thought, I really want this. I don't think I'm going to get sniped on anything else, so I'll pick this up. And what this gives me is a really reliable suicide lead, which is super nice to have when you're playing hyper offense, which this team kind of lends itself to a bit more towards. Additionally, it's a very good Shell Smash Sweeper. Sort of at 55 base speed means that a +2 you outspeed every mon in the game, which isn't Scarfed. So that's phenomenally good and phenomenally nice to have, and puts it ahead of things like Crustle and some of the other slow ones. Additionally, gets access to Swift Swim, which is nice if I just want to go full on Rain Abuse. And the fact that it has weak armor as well means that you can very often get up 2 layers of hazards, and the fact that it gets access to rocks, spikes, and T-spikes, which is just nice. Means I have 2 hazard. It means I have 2 hazard users, 2 spikes and T-spikes users, and 2 rocks users at the moment, which is nice. And hazards and sort of it's good. It's a good hazard stacker. It's not going to come every week, but it's all right. It gives me a pretty good flying resist actually, because it's base 125 defense. So if somebody has bird spam, then yeah, here is another answer to it. On my way back, I decided to draft Magneton. At this stage of the draft, my only fairy resistance is I don't have an electric type yet. My only fairy resistance is what's it called? I'm trying to desperately Scolipede, which is not a fairy resist. It's yes, you can go bulkier with Scolipede, but also it's seriously sort of difficult to it's not a reliable fairy switching, particularly as a lot of fairy types get access to things like Psychic and so on. So here it is. It still gets pinged by Focus Blast, even with a Violite. Violite on sort of it can be fair. It does sort of it can take a hit. Sort of in total, if you go with Violite and sort of max HP, you sort of get up to about 300 in HP per def, which is not phenomenal, but you know what, it's okay. It's only a tier 4, so you wouldn't expect it to be brilliant. All 3 of its abilities are quite nice. Magnet Pull is nice, Sturdy is nice, Analytic is nice. Analytic make on top of base 120 means it's almost impossible to switch into sort of easily. Flash cannon and gets access to our flash cannon, gets sort of discharge, volt switch, your standard stuff. Base 70 is nice because it means it's a fairly viable scarf. You'll outspeed almost everything except sort of a base 135 plus. Gets also access. It doesn't get access to a phenomenal amount of coverage on the special side, which is a bit annoying. But you've got volt switch to get out of there, and you've also got potentially things like tri attack and your hidden powers. So yeah, it's not like sort of going to be a world beater, but I think it's a fairly solid call. Does get screened as well, which is nice because it gives me a screen to use apart from the Crosman in case I want to set up to high heaven with one of my mons. So yeah, decent mon I think. Next up we have Braviary. I wanted a flying type because I didn't have one yet, and I knew my Mega can get sniped at this point, so I was quite happy to leave it till last. And this gave me a flying type, which is nice, a normal type, which is very important because I had a fairly big ghost weakness up until this point, and most importantly, it gave me a Defiant user, which is phenomenal because that hopefully can stop my opponent from sort of defogging. Also gives me a defogger and sort of base 123 attack, 80 speed is no laughing matter. Another one, base 100 speed, base 100 HP. And on top of that, it's got 75 defenses. Now, it's not phenomenal, but reliable recovery plus sort of a decent amount of bulk, and it can wall a surprising amount. Particularly if you sort of can set up bulk ups, it can take hits surprisingly well, and then sort of you're really hitting hard with return sort of Brave Bird, and obviously Steel and Rock resist that, but you do get access to superpower, which is nice. So yeah, all in all, it's a low tier pick, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty good bird. Yeah, no, I did a decent one. Last but not least, we have Mega Garchomp. Now, obviously didn't have a ground type, didn't have an electric immunity, only had 2 stealth rockers, which is not as many as you'd like. And so yeah, this is what I decided to round off my draft with. Had to be from tier 2, the Mega. Just it's sort of similar to the GBA draft system. Had to be from tier 2 because of the points I was on. But if you look at it, it's got base 170 attack, so Adamant max attack is 482. Sort of jolly with no investment, like 0 attack investment is 376, and then slap a Sword Dance on with that, and you're away. This thing it's a bit terrifying because you can take some seriously mad hits on this because base 108 HP. 115 defense, 95 to Spadef is no laughing matter, and you will be surprised by the amount that this thing can soak up. On top of that, you've got potentially, I've got quite a lot of speed control. I've got bravery, tailwind on bravery, and apologies, trick room and things like that. And also, I've got speed pass on Scolopede. So yeah, I can speed pass into this, and it could just be game over. So overall, I think, as it works out, I think overall I have like something like 39 weaknesses and 60 resistances, which is not too bad. My stat totals on average: 80 HP, 106 attack, 94 defense, 103 attack, 82 defense, and 82 speed. It's not, by no means bad. I've got a good range of speed tiers, although they are a bit clustered, sort of between 80 and 100, 80 and 95, which is a little bit annoying, but it's something I can deal with. Or 79 and 95, sorry, because Necrozma's at 79. I've got a lot of special attack, and I've got a lot of attack, and I feel pretty comfortable with my ability to break through things. And offensively, I think I should have a pretty good matchup against basically any other team in the league. Obviously, with bulk sort of at average 80 and 82, my Spadef is not great, and maybe I might want to do something about that. I'll see how the team plays and see how it matches up with who I've got, and see how sort of everything's going. But yeah, it could potentially use a little bit of reinforcement in that area. But that is what it is. Oh yeah, Z movers. Yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier. 3 Z movers. Minus Golopy, Dorok, and Lucario. So basically, I just went round down the route of getting whatever terrifying offensive mons I have and giving them access to even more terrifying offensive moves. So we'll see how that works out. I've been Prof Chipboard, and thank you very much for listening to me be entirely incoherent for the past 10 minutes or so, or longer than that. Yeah, I'll head off now. See ya.